Resident Evil 5 sees seasoned veteran Chris Redfield, now a member of a group called the BSAA, sent into Africa to investigate terrorist activities involving bioorganic weaponry. So yeah, the story still keeps that B-movie sense of ridiculousness.
Splendid timing! You two are just in time for the fireworks show! Boom!
And yep, it's still got a nice range of scenery that you can just imagine coming straight out of an old black and white horror film, from boggy marshlands complete with human sacrifice to ancient tombs and temples. But most people agree that it was this game that marked the departure of survival horror from the Resident Evil franchise. This game is not scary at all. That's not to say that it's a bad game, but just go into this one expecting a more action-focused story than you typically get from the series. No creepy mansions, no graveyards, no gothic castles, just turret sections, motorbike chases, and Matrix-like superhero battles.
I'm no superhero.
For me, the highlight of this game has to be the combat. There's just something about the combat in Resident Evil that does a great job of building up tension. It may not be that scary, but that's not to say that it's not tense. I love the fact that you're unable to move and shoot at the same time. This means that you're constantly having to pick a spot to then fight from. And then as the enemy draws nearer, it's up to you to decide when's the best time to either run, or fire off those final couple of shots hoping to finish him off. I'll be honest, it's pretty nail-biting stuff. But let's not beat around the bush, let's get on to some of the problems with this game. And unfortunately here she is. My number one problem with Resident Evil 5 is Sheva. Now there's nothing wrong with her character, although her voice acting can be a bit dodgy at times.
What's changing? What are you talking about? Is it the Ouroboros project? Is that it?
No, my problem is this. Why do we need a partner in a Resident Evil game? It's true that in the past most of the major characters in the series did come in pairs, but that was mainly just to give you a reason to replay the game as someone else. It didn't mean that they always had to stick together. And that's the problem. At no point in this game are you ever alone. This kills off any chance of horror that the game might have had. You never get that sense of eeriness or isolation, when you know that you've always got someone running around watching your back. Now, of course I know the reason she's there is so that the entire game can be played through cooperatively, either with a friend in split screen mode or online. I get the appeal of co-op gaming, but I feel like this was a franchise that just didn't need it. Or at the very least, they could have made it so that Sheva was only there if you were playing with someone else. Otherwise, all she does is create annoyance, and to be honest, sometimes actually makes the game too easy. Now, remember the cool attaché case system from Resident Evil 4? Well, that's gone, and so's he. Instead, they've been replaced with a simple inventory slot system. Everything you pick up, you have to decide who will be best to hold onto it. From weapons, to ammo, to healing items, your inventory is basically shared. Even when upgrading weapons, you have to spend your money also upgrading her guns so that she can remain effective. It probably sounds selfish, but I only really want to upgrade my weapons that I'm going to be using, not the AI's. As every Resident Evil fan knows, half of the challenge is trying to conserve ammo, especially when playing in higher difficulties. This means that the knife is just as important as any of the guns are, as you can see from this handy graph. You can use it to finish off a lone enemy, or use it after a shot to the knees to get an easy kill, but no, Sheva does not agree with conserving ammo for some reason. Even if an enemy is down and out, she will insist on wasting precious handgun ammo shooting them while they're on the ground, when you could just knife them. And don't forget, you have to share ammo, so that ammo she's using is also your ammo. And her love for this handgun goes one step further. She will always use it so long as she has ammo for it. Even if she's got a stronger gun and you're fighting a gigantic boss, she'll still stick to the handgun. In the end, I found it best just to give her all the handgun ammo, upgrade her handgun to as powerful as possible, and just let her get on with it. At least then she can always make some contribution to a fight. The game's got a good mix of enemy variety, although I do think that oily eel-like Ouroboros virus did crop up one time too many, especially considering it's a pretty boring enemy. Resident Evil 4 I feel like kind of existed as its own thing, whereas here the game delights in shoving the entire history of Resident Evil all over the place. From old enemies making their return, to a timeline included in the loading screens, to a 44-page file available from the title screen giving you the full history. I guess it's good for newcomers to this series, but it seems a little excessive. The game does come with a healthy supply of DLC, which back in the day you would have had to pay for, but fortunately is now all included in the package. You've got the Desperate Escape, which is whatever. It explores a missing chapter from the main campaign and is fine, I guess, although it does have a great climax. Then there's Lost in Nightmares, which is set in the past when you had to explore a mansion, and to be honest, this DLC alone feels more like Resident Evil to me than the rest of the game combined. Plus there's a return of the awesome mercenary mode where you have to fight against the clock to get a high score, and a versus mode, although I didn't have much luck finding a match to join. So those are my thoughts on Resident Evil 5. Next week I'll take a look at a game that I've never played before, Resident Evil 6. Thanks for watching.